Students, today we talk about practical auditing. Important question for 4 marks questions, part A. Today first question is going to internal control. What is meant by internal control? Internal means inner, inside, interior, within. That is everything to be inside. Then what is meant by control? Control means power, authority, command, check, etc. These are to be control. And system. System means a structure, organizations, order, arrangements, methods, techniques, process, procedures, approaches, etc. Everything is calculated. What is the meaning of that? Internal control system, everything to be inner of the company or firm, to be a systematic manner to be approaches. It is called a internal control systems. In simple words, to check or verify the accounts within the firms or company itself in a system that is proper manner, systematic manner. It is here from that what is the meaning in your works. Internal control system is the whole systems of supervisions employed internally. Internally means within that. By the managements of the legal entity. Legal means it is rules and regulation to be followed very strictly manner to carry on the business in the efficient manner. Efficient manner means is a effective manner, talented manner, successful manner. Then a firm can keep the automatic check and balance over its transactions, all transactions to be and balances, debit and credit balance as well as. Then internal control includes internal check, internal audit and other devices of control. These are to be including full internal control system. Independent auditors rely on the system of internal control in performing their audit work. So every company or a firm to be the check whether the system should be correct or not, to be recorded systematically, to be checking from that internal control. Next question is going to about the internal checks. First of all, first you can complete the internal control and check. Check means you can carried by the staffs to be to check itself here from that. Okay, now it's going to in the word one of that the word first you can derive the definitions of the internal checks. You're going about to talk about what is meant by internal checks. In under the internal check system, the work of each individual is dependently checked by other member of the staffs. No one staff members is allowed to record every aspect of this transactions. The whole work is allotted amongst the staff that the work of one person can be automatically checked by others. For simple words, you can check from the one person doing some work to be checked from the other persons. It is an arrangement of bookkeeping routine that errors and fraud can be prevented by the every operations of the bookkeeping itself. Okay, now it is a definitions of the internal check. One of the author T. Pala define an internal checks. Practically means is a day-to-day activity of the doing the accounting works. A continuous internal audit. Continuous means system that is by day-to-day activity. Internal audit carried on by the staff itself, by means of which the work of each individual is independently checked by other member of the staffs. In simple words in Tamil, ஸோ ஒருத்தவங்க செய்கிற அக்கௌண்டன்சியை அடுத்தவங்க செக் பண்ணுறது இன்டர்னல் செக்ஸ். ஸோ ஐம் கோயிங் டு டாக் in our the once again I will read it the Paul's definition of the internal check. An internal check means practically continuous internal audit carried on by the staff itself, by means of which the work of each individual is independently checked by other members or other staffs of the company. Now going to about the internal audit. What is meant by internal audit? To whether the check accounts to be correct or not, it is called a internal audit. So every business concern to check whether the accounts are clear or not, that is internal cutting. Before going to tell about the define, What is meant by just introduction about the internal audit? So internal audit is undertaken within the organizations by specially assigned staff. It operates independent of all the internal checks in force. It focuses in the measuring compliances with the entity policies and procedures. Internal auditors can advise the management to board of directors of how better to execute their responsibilities. It is also an important tool of evaluate the correctness of accounting records of a continuous basis. Organization and internal audit function are more likely to detect and report fraud than others who do not. Now, the definition of the internal audit. First, Howard A. F. Then Settler to be defined about the internal audit as a the internal auditing is an independent appraisal activity within appraisals means evaluations activity within an organization for the review of operations as a service to the management. So management is a some owner of the business concerns. Then second definitions of the internal audits. Florida defines some of the words related to the internal audit as the examination and evaluations of the adequacy and effectiveness, then effectiveness efficiently of the organization's system of internal control and the quality of performance in carrying out assigned the responsibility. The Florida defined about that internal auditor systems. Next one's going to talk about audit program. Yes. The next question going to talk about audit programs. What is meant by audit program? The objectives of audit programs related to the topic to coordinated of various parts of the audit work to everything to be recording on the program list to ensure the uniformity of the performance of audit work and avoid duplication of the reputations of the work, then to attain the fair allocation of work among the audit team to enable the completion of work within the time prescribed, to fix the responsibility for each job and to identify the person responsible for each part of the work, to serves as a guide for planning the audit work in future, to provide a proof of completion of particular audit work, it dates the which it completed, who performed it and how it was done. These are related to the audit program's aims. Now it is going to about the what is the meaning or short note of the audit program is that detailed plans to be before to check the audit and accounts to be plan it yourselves, plan of auditing work to be performed. It specifies the procedures. Procedures means rules and regulations and systematic manner to be that conduct of audit more efficiently. The audit should be the effective manner. The auditor, who is auditing the programs, the auditor outlines the whole procedures to audit from beginning till the finalizing of the audit report. Audit programs generally contained in the audit notebooks. So first you can study about the what is meant by internal control system and the internal check and the internal audit. Now it is a audit programs. Audit programs, so before going to internal audit to be plan it. Who's the first you can do it, and second then everything to be lastly to finalizing the audit programs. Then going to about the audit notebook. What is my audit notebook? Everything recorded on the notebook, it is come under the audit notebook. That is means the audit, that is observation first. You can listen it first and objections. What are the rules and regulations to be followed or not? Then queries any doubts. Raise the replies received thereto. Correspondence within the client. The client means the customers or how to be noted down. Then while conducting an audit, the auditor should be the seeks of the clarifications of certain points. To be clarification, some of the staff to be verify the accounts and auditing the balance amount, then invoice numbers, everything to be certain points to be clarification to particular staff member. The explanations received from the client and the observations made there and the recorded and the diary maintained by the purposes. Some of the notebooks to be the audit program related to that audit notebook to be followed, that to be recorded on the audit careers, important balance and documentations, the accounting statistics, name of the principal officers and the duty responsibilities and record of audit work done with dates and commencement and the completions, and the details of the important policies followed by the company, progress of the audit work together with the dates and which the work was undertaken and completed, items to be mentioned in the audit report, the important contracts entered in by the company with the foreign companies, patent, trademark, etc. Everything to notes on the properly taken in the audit notebook. It might be proved the great value of the auditor subsequently. Everything to be checked, it is easy to for the formulations that is come under the audit notebook. Thank you once again to